They went extinct.
Okay.
For obvious reasons. This is a 1965, original 1965 Fender Bass 5 in a custom color Olympic white. The first thing that people will notice off the bat, if you're an aficionado of vintage Fenders, is that it looks like a Mustang bass. It looks like a Fender Mustang, which I believe came out in '66. I'm not a big Mustang guy, but I believe the Mustang came out in '66. This looks to me like somebody stretched a Mustang,
right,
and then put a fifth string on it. It only has 14 frets. 15 frets. It's got 15 frets. This bass has 15 frets. Why they didn't go to 20 frets? They could have. The neck would have been here, the body shape would have been different, maybe the pickup would be in the pickup's in the wrong place. Not the wrong place. In not the desirable place. If this was a P bass and this was the 20th fret, approximately here, would have to be about here. So everything's a little different here on this instrument. It's very interesting bass, very rare bird. I think they only made about 200 of these between 65 and 67, 68. It was in the catalog till 1970, but they stopped building it. It didn't sell. It wasn't a popular bass. John Paul Jones supposedly had one. I think there's a photo of him playing it. Jamerson supposedly had one. Never saw a photo of him playing it. Don't know what he did on it, whether he ever used it, but supposedly Jamerson had one too. James Jamerson, for those who don't know who I'm talking about. Again, they better know at this point. So that's it. This is part of the reference collection and has nothing to do with tone. It's just as pure history. The only place that this does have a little bit of the RS5, or the RS5 has a little bit of this in it, is this neck feels great down here. This particular bass is 1 3/4 at the nut, and it feels just right in here for a 5-string, and the shape of the neck. So this area from here to here is what we use for the shape of the RS5.
Now, what's the scale length? And how is this instrument strung?
Oh, this is a 34 scale.
34 scale.
It was originally strung EADGC. I strung it BEADG, and I was going to bring it to a gig, and I couldn't get myself to do it. It's not even about the frets. I can certainly get enough. I can certainly do what I need to do in here on a general business gig, but I just couldn't get the tone I wanted at it. I wanted to bring it to a gig just because, but I have never done it. Tone-wise, it just didn't make it for me. Some people I've played this for like the sound. I personally don't. But it's a beautiful looking bass, and it's in the colors, and of course the tortoise pickguard is just, that's so typical of 65, you know. What else can I say about it? Oh, the witch's hat knobs. That's original. You didn't see that on many Fender basses.
I saw them on the amps.
You saw them on the amps, exactly. But those are the original, what they call witch hat knobs. I haven't seen many of these in my life. I think I've touched one other than this, and seen pictures of others. They're very rare. If you find one out there and you have an opportunity to buy one just for the curiosity of it, or the rarity of it, but don't expect it to be anything you necessarily want to play.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, 1965.
Yes.
Now, I'm looking at this instrument, and I'm thinking about how much they got right. It's maybe half right.
Right.
The instrument.
Yes.
34-inch scale.
34-inch scale was okay.
String spacing.
String spacing was right. 19 millimeter at the bridge.
That's almost standard across the board for modern J styles.
Yes. The bridge spacing to the nut is perfect. That they got that, you know, in my opinion, I think in yours too, they got it right. Okay. There's only two things that I feel that they really got wrong here. Was stopping at 15 frets. I don't know what they were thinking. I really don't know what they were thinking. Because now, you know, if it was strung EAD GC, you essentially had the same range as the 4-string. You had more strings. What was going on, what's been talked about and makes sense, is people were able to play across the strings and
Right.
not have to go up here to a higher register when they're reading charts, or even have to know the higher register. Same thing happened with the upright bass. When some 5 strings came out, Chubby Jackson comes to mind.
Mhm.
Chubby Jackson started playing the K 5-string back, I believe, in the 40s. And I actually worked across from, well, I'm telling my age now, but I worked across from Chubby Jackson at a place called the Hideaway Lounge in North Miami. And we were the fusion band. He was the jazz band. He and his son, Duffy Jackson, were playing. And we're all in the dressing room, and somebody said to Duffy Jackson, they said, "Hey, you know, you were an innovator, man. You played 5-string upright before anybody. Wow, that was so hip and innovative." And you know, Chubby said, "I wasn't hip, I wasn't innovative. I just didn't know how to play up in the upper register. So I needed that high string to get across." And I believe that might have been the same thing here. People who didn't really want to explore up here or couldn't, or you're reading and you wanted to go across the neck, which that in itself is still legitimate today in extended range basses like 5 and 6 string, is that you can go across the neck. You could be reading a chart, you're looking down at your chart, you don't have to be,
Right.
you know, you're just playing across, and you can start to get a lot of range in 1 or 2 positions. So maybe that's what they were doing back then. Don't know.
Well, I know this is the first one I've ever seen. And
Yeah.
I think it's rather novel to have this in the reference collection.
Yeah, and this is the Mustang pickup, except in a 5-string. Kind of innovative because it's, you know, you see the small one and the large one. You know,
Right.
2 sides is an odd pickup. But even if they had put this a little further back to where it'd be in the right position, or in the same position as, say, a P bass, it looks like it's in the right position, but it's not. If you measure this, you'll see that a P bass would be back here. Be right about here. Yeah.
Very interesting.
Pickup position is important as the pickup itself. It's got to be in the right place. This one's in the controversial.
The other place.
Yeah, the other place. Yeah. And it's typical 65 in that it's got pearl dots. Pearl dots on the side as well. No binding. 66. When they did the 66, it was the same as this, but it had the binding like you saw in the 66 Jazz. And then they actually had a block inlay version starting in 67, late 66. And then they just disappeared.